Okay. West Boylston Conservation Commission continued public hearing notice.
Where is,
It continued.
one second, where is Toby?
Whoop.
Yeah, leave for a second.
How many seconds? Where did she go?
I guess I wait until she comes back.
I happen to need her. I need her. Unless someone else wants to take the minutes.
Nope, no way.
You got one.
I have one.
Well, good, you can read it anyway. You can read
Read
it.
it anyway. A continued public hearing will be held in accordance with General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, on the application of Dave Brunel and Joseph Evangelista notice of intent for the construction of a 9-unit building complex with associated stormwater basin, stormwater infiltration system, driveway grading and landscaping at 0 Shrine Ave, West Boylston, Mass. Public hearing will be held on Monday, November 7th, 2022, at 6 p.m. at the West Boylston Town Offices, 140 West, I can't read, 140 Worcester Street, West Boylston, Mass.
Which is where you are currently at.
Just the notice. I can't read out loud.
What time did we start? At 6?
We
6,
start right now,
yes.
6:02, according to this gentleman right here. All right, we'll open up from,
All right, you got Scott Goddard here from Goddard Consulting, wetlands consultant, and Joey Evangelista's here as well, the applicant,
Okay.
Dave Brunel's here as well.
okay.
So, we got the whole party here. We didn't bring the civil engineer, not knowing there was any additional civil engineering questions. So
There
since
weren't.
the last public hearing,
Right.
no new additional information submitted other than the homeowner's document.
That was what was in question, that was the concern, my understanding.
My understanding also, they were looking for how we were gonna control and maintain the system as well.
All right, could you explain what you did? I had it on the net, but I don't know
Okay.
if anyone read it.
Since Joe prepped this without
Our
sharing it,
attorney,
I'll let him explain.
yeah, it shows, I could show you all the whole board members review this, it showed,
We did, but the audience maybe didn't.
okay, so, basically, this document here, our lawyer laid out, pretty much reiterates what's on the existing plan there, because the
Correct.
stormwater management systems is already on the definitive site plan that we're gonna bring to the planning board.
Right.
About annual maintenance, sweeping of the streets, control of the site, and enforcement of the, to keep the system in continual working condition.
And it also addresses apartments versus condos.
It's a home, we called it a Shrine Ave homeownership trust, so
Okay.
it's whether it's an individual homeowner that owns them all, or whether it's a group. Whoever owns this has to abide by this trust that we set.
All right, hold it right there. Is there any questions on that part of it? Does everybody understand what he's saying? Okay,
Each person owns,
right.
1/9 of the trust.
That was the whole
And it's
question.
part of the
is-
responsibility to
Yeah,
get this done.
I understand that.
There's one trust,
People give their names also.
I haven't signed in sheet. Oh, okay. Could you give your name when you make a comment?
Rick LaBelle, Forkabore Circle.
Okay,
The other thing that I just need clearance on, if you got 9 units,
right,
they're all paying their 1/9.
okay.
They've been here for about 5 years. And then I decide to sell my unit, and I get 1/9 of the revenue that's in the pot, right? Am I right or wrong here?
I'm not an attorney, but to the best of my knowledge, the reserves do not leave the account. They follow the reserve account. Again, I'm not an attorney. You don't walk with your reserve funds. The only way that could ever possibly be in a condo docs, if you walk with your 1/9 of your reserve funds, the person buying your unit would have to would fill that void.
It's part of your closing
I've been
costs.
in real estate 30 years, I've never seen anybody walk with their reserve funds when they sold their condo.
No, they
Yeah, no,
reimburse
they
the
don't.
actual current
The
owner.
reserve funds stay with the condominium association.
That's right, you're in one right now.
I'm in one and I know that,
It's
yeah.
item 5.1 that I was reading, and maybe I'm incorrect. Can you check that out, Joe?
Sure.
On that, please, in the definition there, I think it was on the definitions.
5.1, homeownership,
Yeah,
the benefits of such shall be,
see?
and the unit owner's benefit interest in the trust shall be divided amongst the
I could be wrong.
subsidiaries.
No, well, no, that's what this is about. I don't know.
Say I buy 2 units, you know?
Right.
It's just saying, this is a division of the expenses, it's the 1/9 ownership, so each unit owner because they're gonna be all equal units, so what we have them propose, would own 1/9 of the, be a one-ninth interest in the trust. And
Right.
therefore, they would be responsible for 1/9 of all the incurred
Expenses.
expenses by the trust.
But the reserve fund is separate.
I wouldn't recoup any of that money that I put in when I sold.
It would, whoever bought your place would reimburse you for that
I
portion.
don't know about that, Bill. I
Well,
think
you
it's
sell your
standard.
unit,
I've done it
you
in
get
Florida,
what
and
you
that,
can.
I had to pay them. It's part of the closing
Really?
costs, yeah.
Not en masse, I think the reserve fund is, it's there, it's just there.
It belongs to the trust as far as I
Trust,
understand, and the
right. You can't
trust
walk
is,
with your reserve money.
right, the trust is not up
Not
for
mass.
sale. The units
Again, I'm
are,
not making a legal opinion here, I'm just saying from my knowledge in real estate, I believe, under the documents in Massachusetts, that any funds in the trust remain there upon
Right.
sale of the unit.
So does it say that in that document, Joe, because I was reading it just before, and that's the way I interpreted it. You know, cause you had it out at 1.1.
Unfortunately, my attorney couldn't be here tonight, it was one of the people I did want to have here, but I can't tell you that. In my belief, in Massachusetts, the funds that are in the trust, I mean, I just sold a unit at Casebrook Landing 4 weeks ago, and I didn't get a check for the money that was in the trust, I can tell you that, in West Boylston, so. And the same lawyer that made that Condominium Trust up, is gonna make this one up.
Right.
If anybody knew that there was money to walk out of there with, or myself, I would have grabbed it.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood that. So
Sure.
as far as you know, it's not in that document that when you sell your unit, whatever money you put in there stays.
This is a maintenance,
Right,
Exactly.
I understand what it is.
Which is what our concern is.
but I would, if you wanna come to planning board, well, if we do get there, and you wanna have it part of the condo, if docs that, you know,
That's really where this belongs.
this is, we're here for a notice. of
We're into
intent.
plants, even though we don't look it.
how about water?
But I
Oh,
would
water.
purpose to make sure that the reserve fund can't be depleted when people leave.
Yeah,
I
no.
can't imagine anybody
can't.
would buy a condo unit and let the unit that they're buying, let the seller deplete the unit, that take that walk away with that money.
No, that's not gonna happen. I just don't know how they're doing
Right, I
that
just
at the
wanted
closing.
clarification on the document that you sent out.
Sure.
That's all.
This is a homeowner's,
Okay.
trust agreement to take care of this particular aspect of the project.
Just asking a question.
No, thank you, that's a good.
Are there any engineering questions? Seeing I do have the engineer here.
He's not the engineer, he's the wetlands guy.
Close enough.
Eh, Close enough, close enough.
Really?
All depends what courses you took. Any other questions?
I have a question. I'm certainly not an engineer. Don't claim any
Nor am I,
expertise.
that's why I hire people.
But I was wondering about the sheet water on these 100-year storms, and what happens, is the drainage sufficient for that?
It's designed for 100 years. That's the design standard, the whole drainage system. Yes.
His question is, the water that you have designed, that's gonna be changed because of the buildings and the construction, he wants to know how, like in a rainstorm, regular sheet water, it's gonna get
I don't want,
to the designed area.
I
How's that?
don't want water in their cellars,
Right.
bottom line. I just,
No,
Nor
I don't
do
think
we.
anybody does.
Nor do
right?
we.
So the Massachusetts stormwater management standards have to be applied to a development of 5 or greater units, which this is. So it has to fully meet that, and the design standard is for the 2, 10, and 100-year storm, right? So you can't increase peak flows or discharges for any of that. So that's why there's retention and discharge. The water still is gonna go into the wetlands as it does right now, but it will be attenuated on site before it's discharged up to the 100-year storm.
the other question I had has to do with, I have on my phone the rigorous maintenance required by this, and it's apparently done by covenant.
Yep.
Which, I don't even know if this is in our jurisdiction, but covenants are weak, depending on how if they're enforced. It seems like the details of maintaining this are extraordinarily extensive, very detailed. I just wonder whether that can be done, with the force of simple covenants. My experience with covenants is that, pretty much after a few years, they go by the boards, and then by the way, I was appreciative of what you've done for that vernal pool as well, I mean, so I understand that. But, those are my two issues with the project. I don't even know if the second one is part of our jurisdiction.
It's not, but it's their concern, so I think
Yeah, so we
we're right
have
in
to-
talking about it.
Well, we'll certainly address that. I know, I'm not an attorney, again, my lawyer's not here, he had another meeting and goes, I had a feeling we're gonna get some of these questions. But it's my understanding that the condominium documents, if we sell them as condominiums, that there'll be certain monies that'll be collected from a condo fee that'll be budgeted to take care and maintain the maintenance of the storm.
See, my concern on this has been, because we've had other projects in town where they've gone bankrupt, and I can't find out who owns this, who owns that, because this person owned it, that person owned it, another bank
Can't hold
owned
us
it.
to the standard of someone else's.
I'm just saying, these are problems that we get delivered here, so I'm trying to,
And I understand there's a lot of,
so my point is, this gives me what I want. They're gonna call me and make a complaint. I now have a person that I can go to and say, fix this,
President
where I
Trump,
currently, a lot of
all-
places I don't.
Right.
So that was the
Sometimes
whole
what I've seen done
purpose.
In similar situations in other towns on these kind of things, is there could be a request in the order of conditions, as a condition, that the trust has a reporting requirement to you guys at some interval. In the annual report gets submitted to you, or every.
We've done that before,
whatever.
annual
And
reports.
then that gets into your records, and if you go look back and go, geez, we haven't gotten that annual report in the last 3 years. Now, there's a reportable issue, an enforcement situation, or at least a phone call to start, but there's something now, you're getting annual reports, or every, whatever interval times.
That's a good idea, we could add that in very easily.
It did does.
So where, the ultimate enforcement is then with the town and this board, is that what you're saying?
Right,
Is that right?
yeah, well, it'd be the
Well,
building
it's-
inspector, but yeah, it's with us.
self-enforcing until there's a problem, is usually how these
And
things work,
this-
right? Once there's an impact to the wetland resource areas, or a failure to report, then there's a problem.
I mean, I actually have a form right here, which is gonna be a conversation later on tonight. We can fine them up to $25,000 a day, if they don't, if they don't do it. So,
Right, unless there was a different arrangement maybe with the planning board.
that's different, I'm just trying to address here tonight.
Right, the planning board's not doing this, right, so this is.
But this board has a way of getting your attention, I can guarantee it.
Correct.
Right.
Any other questions?
How do we enforce this? I know we have all these rules and regulations.
Well, you would make a complaint, I would make
Yeah,
the
but
complaint to them.
The horse has already left the barn. We already have an issue that we have to address.
If we do annual maintenance, I should be able, I'm gonna make it part of the conditions if we vote it that way. I'll make it part of that, and if I don't have my annual report, then I could start it right then and there without a problem. So I mean, I'm a little bit ahead of the line, I mean, if you get a major storm, hurricane, what am I gonna do?
I'm just concerned with all of this water. I know we have this elaborate plan, okay, which meets certain specs. But when have we gone back and evaluated this particular plan, which these specs are based on? Does anybody know? I
Well,
mean,
there'll be an order of
that
conditions.
backyard-
There's an order of conditions
And
from
there'll be an
us.
as-built. There'll be an as-built completed by the engineer upon the completion.
Right.
As part of the occupancy permits of these, there'll have to be an as-built, of the driveway, the site, the stormwater, everything will have to be replotted to make sure it was built and designed and installed at the way it was planned.
And that'll be a stamp plan, which gives you legal access. If it doesn't work, then the engineer is on the hook for
Pockets
that.
of water back there, that are subterranean.
Right,
So you can go by there and you can survey all of that there. Now, and as that water comes down, okay, it's gonna go into this particular fixture that we put in there.
right.
Well, how do we know all that water is gonna go in there?
Well, the design will bring the water there. Your problem is how it's gonna matriculate out of there and go somewhere else. And I can't address that here, because I don't own that property, and it's not in front of me.
That's my question.
Right now, everything discharges to that wetland, right, everything flows to to that.
And it
wetland.
goes down
The
behind,
topography is gonna continue to go to the wetland.
Exactly.
Drainage system's gonna go to the wetland. It's not getting diverted
No,
to
it's not like, that's not what you say.
adjacent properties. Yes,
I mean, I don't mean that, I'm not saying it's getting diverted,
yeah,
but this is nature.
right.
And you know when it comes down, and it has an abutment right there, it's gonna move somewhere else. And that's just.
What's
a
the
fact.
abutment that you're referring to?
Whatever you're putting down there,
Okay.
all right?
The
You know,
structure-
water's gonna come
structures.
down,
Mhm.
and that is, I've watched it over the 20 years, it's changed all the time. It's not always gonna go where you're going to have your particular facility and to try to,
well, his water is gonna go there.
I don't understand what's his water.
He's got detention ponds. The water is coming down off the roof, coming off that parking lot, and it's designed to go to those ponds, and that's where it's gonna go.
Okay, so.
There it's gonna be slowed down, and along the side of the driveway, we made him put in a lawn, which basically is riprap, and it slows down your flow of water again. This is all sheet water we're addressing. And he's designed everything to go down into that area of pooling that is there now. And where that goes is where the problem is, because now it goes all the way down to the manor eventually. That's how it goes.
Out the back, though, not the front.
That's right, it goes out the back.
There's no way that water could ever reach top of Shrine Ave.
Right.
We hope it goes out the back,
No, Shrine Ave's never had a problem,
Never.
that I know of.
knock on wood, yeah, right, unless you go there right after a storm.
Well,
Well, you get puddling everywhere down that whole area is low.
You do.
Until 9 units are built, then it's
well, I
gonna
talked
be
to
an
Billy
issue.
Pease, he owns the unit right
I
there.
know, yeah.
And I had a very long conversation, he came and saw me, he says, I don't know, is he here tonight?
No.
I asked, has the water hadn't been even near your building? He says, it's never been within 10 feet of the, and he says, and then, I don't know, we have a homeowner here from Shrine Ave. Has the water ever touched your garage from
She's over.
coming up?
Here,
The water has never come up from that.
not in mine, but I'm at the other, the
No, but you've never had water come up from that pot in 15 years.
Bill's side, I don't, I
He
can't
said he
answer,
didn't. He
but
said
not
he didn't.
mine, cause I'm at the other.
DPW has no record of it.
Has never touched that parking lot of the condos we
Right.
built next door.
It will.
It's impossible,
9 units.
because the back is lower than the front.
For now, though, Joe, you know, things change.
You put up
And
those
I know what you're
units.
saying, I get it, Joe, you know.
Okay.
I mean, we've been looking at a 40B, and this discussion's not gonna happen, so I mean, be careful when you get what you wish
I don't
for.
want a 40B. I want to build nine condominiums and be done with this project and move on. I have no interest in building a 40B there, or even, our goal is to build them and sell them.
Why don't you just move on to the next project and leave this one alone? You've got enough projects to do.
It's for sale.
Just go to another one.
It's for
You
sale.
have to win all the time, Joe? Can't you just lose once? You have to do it every time? Sorry.
Tough being a hero,
Have
Joe.
you folks considered buying that property yourselves?
Yeah. I tried to sell it to the DCR, they didn't want it, the preservation people don't want it, I mean,
No.
it's a commercial zone piece of land, it's valuable to the town.
No, I got
It's a tax revenue, it creates tax base.
Money.
It's a positive, no, I'm sorry, saying for me, for the town of West Boylston, it's a positive thing for the residents. We're
It's
so
not.
short on housing right now, it's incredible.
We're not happy.
Any other questions?
Yeah, what do we do next? Now, how do we do, you know, where do we go from here? Planning board? Rick?
Well, we're gonna vote, I don't know where the vote's going, I'm gonna vote, and we'll find out where that's gonna be, and
But we do have to file this with the planning board. That will be coming up shortly.
that's right.
And there'll be a peer review there, there'll be all kinds of stuff goes on with that planning board, site plan review is pretty extensive, as you.
Oh, yeah.
well know.
No, well, I would expect it, you know,
Yeah.
they have a lot of money invested here too. You know, so I could see their point.
Personally, I think it's gonna enhance the neighborhood, but I could maybe biased, but, I mean, if you.
Why should we have a building?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think it's gonna bring the values of the neighbors' properties up, cause we're gonna do a really nice job. Take a ride up, 150 Worcester, 250 Worcester Street and see what that project looks like, and that's what you're gonna see when you come into this property.
Yeah, a bunch of condos, it's all nice little ranch houses, now we're gonna have these
You won't even-
condos, with all these people, all the traffic.
They'll be
all-
350 feet off the road, you won't even see them except.
Actually, you shouldn't see it, it should be
I'm
way up
gonna
there.
see it, I'm gonna see every bit of it.
It's 400 feet.
Well, isn't there another lot that we built up there, doesn't,
Maroney owns
Maroney
36
owns it.
acres behind this, though. Who knows
that,
what's
that's the
gonna
one
happen?
that's the problem.
That cluster development's coming someday there.
I'm talking about them, I'm talking about you.
Sorry.
any event.
That's what I do for a living.
If there's no further questions, then, we have a motion to close the public hearing and.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. All in favor? All right,
Aye.
and you're gonna have to vote on it. How do you wanna go?
Well, I understand that many of you do not want this project. Given what this board is supposed to do, I can find personally no reason to deny it, based on the technical specs. Therefore, I will make a motion to approve the project as written.
Jeff? Second.
I'm late to this game, or this process, but what I understand is there's not a lot of difference from the original to what we're seeing now. I've built subdivisions, I've had relatively same issues. Matter of fact, we built 3 retention ponds, and that's why I asked the question last meeting, how many 500-year flood storms have we had in the last 10 years? And I didn't get an answer, but I know we've even had 1,000-year storms in the last 20 years. So to build to 100 years is inadequate at best. And I'm also told that we've got town problems with drainage in that whole area down there. I'm concerned for the neighborhood. I'm concerned for additional stress on the infrastructure, not in this subdivision, but in what's down the stream from it. And water goes where it wants to go. I know that better than anything. So I'm inclined to not support, based on what I understand, and I'm not an engineer either.
Take that as a no. Carl?
I have to say, I was impressed with your presentation. I don't know enough to find no fault with it. My problem, for me, it looks to me like a very complicated maintenance issue, left in the hands of who knows who. My experience with the covenants is that people just forget. But where there's a requirement that you have to report it every year, where this board can enforce that with a severe penalty, I think that mitigates my problem with it. The vernal pool is really what we're talking about, and you've improved it. I can't find any reason in law, or engineering, as I understand that, to deny the application. As much as I'm concerned, I have to say, if I were in your neighborhood and I were worried about development of that piece of property, I think I would have bought it. Get the neighbors together and put it together. That's a possibility, but it's something, this man owns it now. Property rights matter. And so I would say I would vote to approve it.
All right.
Just for the record, can you take a vote of the people sitting here who are involved to see how they feel, whether they approve or not, just for your record?
Oh, absolutely, we can.
Thank you. Then I move so, let that be done.
All right, let me,
The meeting's closed, right?
well, the public hearing, but that doesn't mean I can't take just so everybody knows. My vote would be a yes, and the reason I would say yes is I'm gonna put in the covenants on this. I got the annual reporting, and I'm gonna hold off on writing the actual covenants till I get back from the planning board what they want. And I'm gonna make that part of my record, and so that'll be part of your permit.
Absolutely.
So as far as it goes, it's okay with us to go to planning board, and then you'll deal with these people and do whatever you're gonna do. All right, but to your point, could I see a show of hands on, what is your actual question? How do you wanna word it?
Well, how many, I'd like 2 votes, one on how many approve of this
Okay,
for the people in the audience, and
Can
how
we
many
see that?
disapprove.
can we see that part of it? Those in favor?
So before that, so My name is Raj. I'm a board of selectmen as well as on other boards. So it's not fair for me to say yes or no. So I'm keeping, I just came in here to watch the meeting and to learn about more on this project. So I'm keeping it quiet and I'm not this side or that side.
I'll have to vote.
The reason, yeah, the reason is, I do need to sit on the other boards. If I say something, that will be a conflict of interest. So I have to sit quiet. Same thing goes this guy.
Now, what was your second question?
I would like to know how many disapprove
In the audience, how many?
in the audience.
How many disapprove in the audience? Two,
Well, we had a
three,
large group last meeting, this meeting was not. as
four,
many.
A lot of
We had
people
a lot
wanted to come.
4 of them.
Time is everything.
So, like I said, I'll do everything I can do, and I'll wait for the planning board to come back to me. I'll show you the covenant. If you don't like it, we can change it to a degree. You know, which is highly unusual. Usually I just do it and that's it, it's done. But I understand a lot of feelings here, a lot of money involved, I get it. But I can only do so much. You know, this legal part is not really part of what we do. And he's abided by everything he's supposed to do in the law. So it's kind of difficult to tell him no. So we're gonna pass it and we'll wait to hear from planning.
Okay, we have 3 votes in favor.
We have 3 votes in favor, 1 no. That's why I did the roll call, so everybody could see what's going on.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening.
The signature sheet. Do you need a pen? Do you need a pen, Mr. Clark?
Yes, desperately.
Show if I voted in opposition.
Do you need
Pardon?
my support on that?
Just to clarify, you'll show me if I votes in
Yes.
opposition?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
Have a great evening.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
What did you say?
5 votes in
5 votes.
opposition from the audience,
5 in opposition.
Right.
in the audience.
You're signing it probably.
No, 4.
2, 3, 4.
So there were 4 in favor.
But again, it's not part of the meeting, it was just public information.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
All righty, thanks, Raj.
Bye.
I'm not signing it, something that I shouldn't be, am I? Given a no vote?
You can abstain if you want. Well, no,
you-
you would
you have
sign
to
it.
sign.
No
No,
is
you-
no, it doesn't
Okay.
make any difference. You
No,
don't
no,
sign
you
it.
have-
I was
You
present.
have to sign it and then say no. Toby knows it, right? Yeah, you have to sign it and then no.
The check sheet, the vote sheets that we have,
Yeah.
Where do I
there,
say
have yes or no.
Oh, it is not there?
These don't.
Oh,
These
you
are
need to
just-
make yes or no to.
No, we usually just do majority and
Just
I mean,
witness.
my understanding of how it works when the commission takes a vote is that the vote happens,
right,
and there could be a split vote.
Yep.
Either goes up or down, and some people are gonna be on the opposite side of how that lands.
correct.
But then, the majority of it is the vote of the commission.
That's
So
correct.
even those who
Well, I
opposed the
suppose
vote,
we could squeeze it
and was on
in
the
there.
other side of the decision, still represents
They don't
the
really put
commission
enough lines.
on the issuance of the permit.
I don't think that's, I think what he wanted is he wants to be known that I voted
Right.
against,
So there's-
which is
so
fine.
There's a
That'll be in
record in the
minutes.
minutes that he was a no vote. But
Exactly,
then when it comes time to execute the permit, you still execute the permit on behalf of the commission with the commission, even though you were a no vote, because you still are part of that board. Because the board is issuing the permit, even though you personally
makes
didn't
sense.
vote for it. That's how I understand it. I could be, I don't wanna tell you guys how to do your.
no, it was just an unusual type meeting, you know, just, it's been kind of involved. Even with the phone calls outside of the meeting, if you know what I mean.
Thank you. All right, so,
As long as you're here, we can do zero Bowen if you want.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know it's not a public hearing, but I thought I could be helpful in the discussion that you guys have.
Right, and,
Maybe I can give you what happened at the DEP site walk and why we're here tonight.
okay,
So, you know, we had a discussion with the commission, this went through a long public hearing process, and for the reasons that you all know,
Yeah.
the commission voted to deny. I filed an appeal to DEP. So the only parties to that appeal are me and you guys.
Right.
The neighbors, even though they participated in the public hearing process, are not a party to this appeal. You took an action, I challenged the action.
Right.
The state now takes the action up. So I walked the site several times with Kim Roth and then Judy Schmitz at
Right.
DEP. Kim was on maternity leave for a bit, she's back. Judy's involved as well, she's the head of section chief for wetlands. So what they wanted to see happen here was that far back right corner area.
Yep.
Down here.
Yep.
They wanted to see if we could make some more separation between the project and the wetlands.
Okay,
So we had it proposed, if you remember, house, garage.
correct.
Where is
So-
the street and the neighbors?
So Bowen
Street is
Bowen
here.
Street is
Okay.
here,
And the other one is right
stream
here.
flows through here,
Right,
wetlands are here.
okay,
This neighbor and this neighbor and this neighbor all showed up at the hearings and,
Yep.
had some input
Okay.
on the process.
this is the location of the neighbor that had the biggest issue with the water, I
Right
believe.
here.
The next door neighbor,
Yep.
the
Yeah.
back, there's like a little river that comes
Right,
down there, and
okay.
then it cuts out and goes down
Okay.
into Henry.
Right.
So, based on,
Pardon?
And out onto the street.
Correct.
based
That's
on the
correct.
feedback from DEP, we flipped the project. Moved the house to here, rotated it this way,
Mhm.
and then shrunk up the garage and pulled it forward. So instead of the limit of work coming way back to like this, or something, it was something like that, we pulled, this whole area got pulled forward. This limit of work stayed the same, and just the reverse situation.
Did you
happened.
do a drawing of that? Because that's what I don't have. This one I already had.
This is what's proposed now.
Okay.
This is a revised plan
Oh, okay, because you got the house over
showing
here. All
house
right, yep.
here, barn there. That area is the only thing that's changed is that that's been pulled forward. So they were ready to act on this and issue a superseding order of conditions approving this plan,
Mhm.
but they said administratively, they wanted to welcome any feedback the board had before they go ahead and issue their permit. My read of them, and I'm not them and can't speak for them, but my read of it is that they're ready to issue approvals of this. But they wanna integrate any comments, or feedback that the commission has. So they asked me, they contacted me and said, could you please share this plan with the commission and solicit any comments or feedback they may
See,
have?
my problem with it
So that's-
is the water for this neighbor, this one, and the discharge down onto Henry.
Right.
And again, it's not your jurisdiction, but I've got the problem. So your lot's dry, but all that water that uses is like a giant pond, if you will.
Yeah,
Now that water's gonna move and make it even faster down onto the neighborhood. That's my worry. I'm not saying your engineering's wrong, actually, your engineering's correct, but it leaves these people in the lurch.
Yeah,
so there is a stream there, there's always been a stream there, there'll continue to be
agree.
a stream there. The water gets to the stream and the water goes downstream. I mean,
Is there a way we could pipe that? That they would allow that?
there's no shot. That would be altering a stream bank and altering.
Well, you piped over here.
I didn't pipe over there.
No, I'm
That was
saying
be-
it's
That was
piped.
before the Wetland Protection Act.
Well, yeah, before
To propose-
ninety-two.
To propose to pipe that would be an alteration of an intermittent stream, bank alteration and BVW disturbance. DEP would not go for that at all, because they want less impact, not more, and that would be viewed in their mind as more.
We're gonna wind up with a lawsuit with this, I guarantee it.
yeah.
And
That's my
not me,
concern.
but the town. I can see it coming, I've done it, I've seen these.
Well, I mean, these guys have filled wetlands in their backyard.
Exactly true.
I mean, it's for sure.
All of
You
this
can go back
was
and there's
this
no
at one
question
time.
about it. So they have a filled-in wetland and in their backyard, and over here, who knows what's going on here. So the fact that they have an altered BVW for a rear lawn, has nothing to do with this. They have a low-lying lot that they have.
Are you one of the abutters?
Well,
We're-
I have a
we're
question.
butters to the
Yeah.
butters.
My name is Joseph Menendez, 61 Bowen Street.
Okay,
Two questions.
yeah,
How long has this project been going on?
couple of years, I guess, right? That you've been involved.
At least a year.
I mean, other people have tried it over 20 years.
Okay, we're not a direct abutter, but we're an abutter to an abutter.
Yeah, okay.
We have never been notified of any meetings, never.
Cause you're not a direct.
We would
abutter.
only, you're not a direct rebutter, we only do the adjacent people.
Yeah, and it gets advertised in the paper and it's posted at the town hall.
And that's why we're here. But we do huge problem area, and no matter what you do, if you build on that house, the water, if it's a storm in the winter, the water turns to ice on Bowen, and
On
it comes
Henry.
flowing out on Henry Street, ices up both roads, and it's a huge, dangerous situation. You look at adding a house to that, and that lot, which is, in my opinion, not buildable, is gonna cause more problems in that neighborhood on both streets, because if it doesn't go through the pipe under Bowen Street, it washes over the street, and it happens all the time. It's not just a once in a while thing. If there's water, it's coming over the street, because the pipe isn't big enough to handle it, and you put a house in the middle of that, and that is just unacceptable.
We live up the street from that.
Right.
Up two lots up.
Yep.
And to this day, we get water. When it rains, we get water over our driveway, over our lawn, to our front walk, and it ends up in
In
the
our
south.
south.
Well, you're always gonna, because of the golf course, all that sheet water comes down the hill.
My point is, the drainage up in that area, as we talk about it today, is
Right.
terrible.
And it's,
Add this, it's gonna get worse.
I don't
I
think,
heard somebody make the statement earlier, water's gonna go where it wants to go.
that's absolutely correct. I don't disagree with anything you've said. However, what he's proposing is correct. But it will create a problem, and we're gonna wind up in court. So if I can alleviate that problem here, that's what I try to do. Really, it's none of my business. This board shouldn't even be involved in this. But because I live in the town and I have a half a brain, I try to solve as much of this stuff as I can here.
however, being the Conservation Commission and water, and it's a stream, I think it has everything to do.
We have regulations, that's true, but he has abided by everything that we asked him to do in 310. That's our guidebook. He's done everything he's supposed to do. But that doesn't alleviate, when this is dry, this water that's sitting there currently is gonna go to one of these other lots.
The people on Henry Street are gonna really get it.
They're gonna.
It does that now.
They're gonna get it worse than.
It does do that now,
Unfortunately, the neighborhood has drainage issues, there's no question.
absolutely.
But one lot doesn't create or not create the problem. There's a broader issue here.
Well, no, it absolutely is.
Actually,
It's gonna create a problem for the folks on Henry Street,
Right.
not
that-
so much
actually,
Baldwin
that-
Street.
Actually, that being a lot, it's the only lot on the street that does have a stream going through it. If you were to pick another lot in the area.
Well, actually, those other lots, when it goes through his lot, the one down with the metal roof, that one has a river going back. The one that just put the addition on, that has one going by, and then it goes down the side of that house, and then it comes out onto Henry. And it goes down Henry and then floods out the people down on Franklin. So I mean, yeah, it's an ongoing problem.
But when the guy on Henry, with his big addition on,
Yep,
started without even getting a permit from you.
that's correct.
Okay, that same conversation should have been happening there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
So, he followed the rules, he didn't have to do all this kind of fancy stuff, and, I mean, there's only so many things you're.
if I had known about it, I didn't even notice, I didn't even know about it, because the building inspector didn't tell
Did
me.
you have him file an after the fact permit,
No, because
Shouldn't
we're
you?
good, well, I should, but
even now?
I could, but then if I do that, then I'm gonna have these other people do everything, including you.
Their activity's in violation of the Wetland Protection Act, that activity's in violation of the Wetland Protection
I
Act.
agree.
This would not be in violation of the Wetland Protection Act. So why are we punishing the guy who's doing it right, instead of the people that went around the law?
Why do you think I'm having a conversation?
You know what I'm saying? So, equal opportunity of the law, equal application of the law, so that some people aren't above it.
I'm just curious about something.
Yeah.
I know that the board disapproved it, Mr. Goddard filed a.
Appeal.
Appeal.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, when DEP went to walk the property with Mr. Goddard, why wasn't the board invited to that?
Or the
We were
neighbors.
there.
We were there.
I've been there 3 times, yeah.
So all of you had a conversation about this,
Absolutely, yeah.
okay? So now,
And he's redesigned it
right.
to
but
make it
now-
more,
But the question that you brought up about the piping,
hmm?
was that ever mentioned to DEP?
No, he's right, that's a shot in the dark, but, I gotta solve the problem somehow.
So now DEP is overruling you.
And they can, that's the way it works.
Even knowing that the considerable problem that it's gonna. that
They
it's
don't
gonna-
care, all they care about is, like he said, this is a single project, that's the project in front of them, I said no, they said yes, they're gonna overrule me. So he technically could build this house with or without my permission, doesn't make any difference.
See, that's not right, you know?
It's
I
the
mean,
way the law is.
I know, but DEP should also take into consideration the afterthoughts of all this.
Well, that's gonna be done in court, I can tell you right now.
Well, they asked for input, that's why we're here.
Right,
The DEP could have acted on this without ever soliciting input from you guys.
that's absolutely
So
correct.
this is a courtesy that they extended, you know.
So if they allow this, and this gets built, and all these people start having problems, who do they sue?
They'll sue the town and make the town straighten this mess out.
But these people are not all of a sudden gonna start having problems, they've been having problems.
Okay, so what can the town do to try to facilitate and not have this? I mean,
You'd have to make a proposal to, actually, to DEP. I would, maybe DCR, start with them, of some kind of a swale, and then you can pipe a certain section down below, and bring it into some kind of drainage, bring it across Franklin, down into the wetlands down below.
would this have any effect on DCR?
This is all DCI jurisdiction, all of this.
Why aren't they involved in this, or are they? I mean, they
Well, we
should-
haven't got there yet. I mean, once my report goes in and what I'm gonna do, then it winds up at DCI, they review all our stuff.
I mean, the town could solicit an engineering study of the neighborhood on drainage issues, to get some potential.
I can't get them to buy a cup of coffee.
I'm just saying,
That was done when they put the sewers in,
Yeah.
and it got denied.
Yep.
but quite honestly, it'd be my recommendation as a professional that these people receive an enforcement order currently from this board for wetland filling and for issues.
Yeah, but they didn't do it, that was done, I don't even know when it was done, to tell you the truth.
I would suggest that there could be some research done as to find out how and when it happened. You know, but we can't be having people who are actively in violation of the Wetland Protection Act, you know, crying wolf on this, honestly.
Well, they haven't done anything yet, I'm just going, this is, well, you know, you can look at a piece of property and tell you what's gonna happen
They
here.
went through a year complaining about this at the hearings,
Yep, absolutely.
when really enforcement action should have been taken against both of them.
Yes.
I understand, you know, the process, and I understand what the board is saying, that now that Mr. Goddard has rearranged everything, that now it's basically DEP. So my question is this: has the board talked to town council about what could happen if this project goes through? About different lawsuits that people could, you know, let them, you know, decide on, you know, because the thing is, if the board's ruled against it, it's gone to appeal has approved it. Mr. Goddard builds the project.
Right.
You know, next year, all of a sudden, we have all this water, these people file a lawsuit against the town. I'm sure, well, if I was town council, I'd be asking the question, well, why did you not come to us and, you know, advise us of the possible situation?
That's a good point.
I could do that, and I could also do the enforcement orders, but once you do the enforcement orders, you hire yourself a scientist, a lawyer, whatever, usually winds up with a lawyer. You know, it's $300-400 an
Okay,
hour.
so the left hand, the right hand, which is gonna be the best alternative? Which one's gonna be the cheapest? You know, is it gonna be cheaper to hire a specialist, or is it gonna be cheaper for the town to get sued and then have to pay out more than probably?
Well, even if they get sued, they're gonna wind up fixing this anyway. I just don't know how they're gonna do it. I think what he says has merit.
I'm not.
Do a study, no, I'm just saying, we should do a study on it, get the town to pay for it, and figure, how do we get out of here? We're here now, how do we get out of here?
I also think that it would be a good idea, not taking anything away from Mr. Goddard, but I think it would be a good idea to discuss this with town council and see what kind of input they give you, you know, as far as what could happen. Maybe it never will happen, I don't know, but the possibility of it could happen. You know, let them know, because the town would be, you know, and you could tell them, the town would, if this happened, and the water could, out of control, and these people, the residents around it decide to sue, they're gonna sue the town, and it's gonna cost the town, which means that property taxes, everything's gonna go up, you know? So I'd rather be a little bit safer, a little bit more cautious, before actually doing.
Let me ask you this, just because I know the question will come up. If you were to sell this lot, how much would you want?
I don't think that's a relevant question for this conversation.
Well, the thing is, the town could buy it with CPC money and eliminate all these problems.
I would say that.
I may be way ahead of it, but
So that can be on the table, but I would, let's leave it that that's an open conversation and one we're willing to have.
okay, that's fine. Then give me till my next meeting, let me talk to George, which is my enforcement officer, and he'll get the town administrator to get the council and however that works.
So, I think there's other things that can happen. There could be a collective neighborhood group hug about this with the town input, DPW, neighbors, et cetera.
Right.
And get together, people around a table who care about this issue, who wanna help resolve it. I'd be happy to be a participant in that.
Will they get notified?
Well, actually, at that time, the entire neighborhood would, because the whole neighborhood's involved.
The whole neighborhood should have been involved from the get-go.
Well, again, the law is the law, and we do what they tell us to do.
The current question the DEP, I think, is looking for, a letter, an email, a phone call,
Right.
you know, from you all, is to say, you know, would you support their issuance of a superseding order of conditions of this plan? Or do you have any red flags about it that you would not support?
My red
That's
flag
what
is
the-
only the water problem in the neighborhood, which, as you bring up, yeah, I have violations already here. Who knows who did them? Who knows what the jurisdiction is? I don't know the laws on
That's
this.
a broader question than they're gonna be looking for. They wanna
Right.
know this revision from here to here, they're ready to issue, right?
I got
They
that.
wanna know, you guys feel like, okay, we're kind of on board with this, you know, or, nope, we're still in opposition of this proposal,
I'm
you
still,
know, that's,
my impression just on walking that property was, that it's a crazy idea to think about a house on that place. That's a personal observation based on sheer engineering ignorance. So I'm gonna say that flat out.
sure.
But I still look at that piece of property and I say, whoa, how can that possibly sustain another? I don't know how, but maybe you've studied these matters, maybe you're more expert than I am, I'm
Right.
sure you are. But my problem with your situation is that these things have existed for a very long time. So, I don't know why anybody has allowed this sheet water to freeze up over the winter the way it has. And I would ask you the same question I asked the other people. Why didn't you buy this property yourselves?
We didn't know it was for
If
sale.
we knew, we would've, for the cost that they
For
sold
what
it
they
for.
paid for it, I would've bought it
I
in a heartbeat.
absolutely would've bought it. It wouldn't have been right
We
at our
wouldn't
property,
have been here
but
tonight.
absolutely I would've bought that.
We didn't know it was for sale.
Yes.
If this project goes through and they build this house, are the people that own that house gonna have an indoor swimming pool?
Yep.
These people will be fine because of the design. Where the problem and the impact's gonna be is the people that don't have a design.
I think you were asking if this is being built into the groundwater table, is that the question?
The water is the water, it's like you said.
Right.
No,
it's the water.
he's
It's
really
gonna
on the
go-
surface. He doesn't even have a footing in this thing, really. It's a slab construction.
Since
Yes, sir.
This gentleman made the comment, we should have had the town fix it years ago.
We've tried.
Right.
We've tried. I've got emails since they put the sewers in, about the water in my yard. We have pictures. Today, when they repaved the street, they didn't raise the berm.
Right.
The water comes right over the berm. For 3 years now, I've been trying to put a berm up to divert the water into the street rather than my yard. I was told as late as last Saturday that it might get done this week. Might.
Well, again,
That would divert some of the water going into our basement, but not all.
I need more input to really make an intelligent decision.
I think there's two issues. There's the broader neighborhood discussion.
Right.
Like, right, as an example, if, you know, when you wanna stop water all concentrating fast to a stream channel, it's actually good to divert it onto people's lawns and properties and let it infiltrate and
Into their
disperse.
basements.
Right, I'm just, if you wanna prevent downstream problems, you gotta collect the water and stop it and infiltrate it at various points upper in the
Yeah.
watershed. So the more you do things like this, right? Put berms directed into the catch basins, the more you're gonna increase the peak flow discharges to the stream that catch the catch basin right there.
Right.
So the water problem here isn't just from this lot, it's from everything that discharges to the catch basins that feeds the stream channel. You know, and so maybe there is a broader discussion to have. But, and that, I would say that's a conversation that should be disconnected from this conversation. DEP is ready to file and issue an SOC approving this proposal.
They can do
They
it,
want-
and we can put a restraining order in a heartbeat, and that'll be the end of it.
Restraining order for what?
I can have the town put a restraining order on DEP. I'll guarantee it, I've done it.
I'm not.
In other words, they say it's a buildable lot, and the town goes, nope, and they go right to court, and that'll be the end of
Oh,
it.
well, you could appeal DEP.
I know that,
We could go to court over it.
but,
You know,
but
but
I don't want to, it
No, no, no,
doesn't solve any
right.
problems.
But the question that DEP is just, they're just looking for feedback from this board.
Right. And
Now,
right now,
based
this,
on the prior plan compared to this plan, do you have thoughts, suggestions?
I think this is a better plan, I think it'll work
Not
better,
supportive.
but I'm still concerned with the neighbors.
Right.
And what I wanna do is I wanna go to the town and find out what they wanna do. I don't speak for the town, I speak for this board. And you can see, we have varying opinions already here.
Right,
I mean, I'm an engineer, 1 always 2 to me, but
Right.
not necessarily to these people.
right, no, I understand.
So I'd rather get some input from, like the building inspector, town administrator, town council. What do you guys wanna do? What are you gonna do? Do we have money to put in proper drainage? Cause that's really what it is, proper drainage. Cause no matter what we do here, it's gonna wind up on Henry Street, which is gonna wind up on Franklin Street.
It's always gonna do that. No study's gonna change that, 'cause
No, I know that, but can I put in drainage for it and solve the problem now? That's what I'm trying to do. And avert the different lawsuits and all the other stuff that goes with it.
it strikes me as a bigger conversation than
Mm-hmm.
what we're here for tonight, so that's.
Your piece of property and your design may be technically correct, I'm not denying that, but I think the impact on the area, given what's already going on, and then what will most likely go on worse after, to me says no.
See, the problem is you're a stakeholder now, I got that part, so are they. So is everybody else in the neighbor. I'm trying to be equally fair to everybody in there. And not say, okay, go ahead and build it, and that's fine for you, but maybe it's not fine for them. So,
See, to me, the
and
difference,
right now, it's just a conversation. It doesn't cost me any money to spend a week or two and find out what everybody else thinks. That's where I'm coming from. I'm not saying you're wrong.
to me, the difference between this project and the other project that I just said okay to, was that wasn't, in my opinion, was not going to cause anybody else around more problems. This one I think is going to, not necessarily because of what you're, I mean, yes, because of what you're doing, even though it may be technically accurate. The bigger issue and the already existing problems, I think it's only gonna make it worse down the line. And I agree, to go into lawsuits and all of that is just, can be avoided. I think it is a bigger issue than just your piece. That's
But we
how
can
I look
expedite
at
it and see what they wanna do. If they don't wanna do anything, yeah, well, just vote on this piece and I'm done. And my board's out of it. I could take the easy route, I could vote right now, boom, there you go, see ya. But that doesn't solve their problem.
No.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Gordon, I don't live anywhere near this project. Okay?
I don't either.
But as a resident of the town, and listening to what's going on, it concerns me because there could be, if this project goes through, there's a possible lawsuit. And if there's a lawsuit against the town, that affects every single resident in the town of West Boylston. So what I would recommend to the board is, okay, this is just a recommendation, is to, DEP is looking for a statement from the board. I would write them back and tell them, after considerable consideration, we would like to do further study on this. Contact the building inspector, the zoning enforcement officer, the town administrator, who's brand new, okay? The board of selectmen, town
Legal.
council, and DPW. And maybe all of these can go out there and look at this property with Mr. Goddard, and they can see, and maybe have some residents, and say, this is what's going, DPW is the one that's gonna have to correct this. They need to know. Town council, in my opinion, needs to know this, because if DEP is allowed to do this, and they let Mr. Goddard do this, and a year from now, we got all these lawsuits, against the town, that affects every single person in this town, not just what the decision that the board has made, But I would look at it and say, okay, the board went above and beyond the call of duty, okay? They did everything they could possibly do, okay? So that would be my suggestion and my recommendation to the board, is to go back to DPW and say, we have questions, we'd like to do further study. This has been going on for a year. I don't think another month or two is gonna make it.
Well, again, you're coming into winter, it's not gonna be buildable, but
So I don't
I
see
could
the-
certainly tell you what we're gonna do within 30 days, for my next meeting. Give me to my next meeting to do something. If I can't resolve it, and we gotta vote, we'll vote. And it goes where it goes. But, I mean, I owe it to the town to, you know, convey their interest, my interest,
I agree.
you know, see what we can do, and your interest. I mean, you don't wanna walk in, when, you know, trying to dodge bullets on your way into your work site.
Oh, God.
So, no, I appreciate you coming in, I think your new design is better, I think it'll work better, but I got that problem with the neighbors.
So then-
Yes, sir.
I would suggest also that you, get the DPW director involved.
Oh, absolutely, I mean, that's something the selectman would do instantly.
Because I've had too many to count, DPW directors trying to get our issue, which it all, like the gentleman said, the water starts at the top. We've been getting it for years from the country club,
We know that.
and
Yeah.
it's
We
just,
lived through it.
So, it's a crazy media.
Okay,
And I know this, this is not some kind of formal thing on the record. If the town wanted to buy this property and did buy this property,
right,
it is very convenient to have a lot available for water management purposes. You know, for example, instead of building on it, digging it out for a big retention area, right? And use it as a storage facility.
right,
Cause there's not a lot, most every other lot is built on,
which would alleviate the other problems.
right? So,
And again, I sit on CPC, I would vote in favor of something like that, that's why I brought it up. We have the funding to do it, and, but again, I'm just a vote,
right.
so it really depends on what everybody else, and again, how it's
Once the
presented.
property's in private interest with houses on it, people aren't gonna wanna say, hey, tear my house down so I can put up a big retention
Right.
pond. You know?
No, but I mean, it could be done properly, and you could have a nice pooled area there, and it would look fine.
So, you know, at
So
least
that's on the
that,
table for
at
you?
least that conversation should be on the table.
Oh, absolutely, and
Is
there
that on the
was,
table for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your project wouldn't create a problem so much as exacerbate an existing one. And so I think what it's done is highlight what you've been complaining about, I guess, for years, which cries out for a solution different from
Yeah.
and
just
then
putting a
Something's not
house on
working.
the thing.
this may be a fulcrum that brings it to the point where we can resolve this for the whole neighborhood. And
I've
for
been-
Mr. Goddard too.
39 years we've lived there, and it's probably 38 that
I've been only on the board for 25, so you can give me a chance.
and it's, I mean, they've tried diverting it when it come off the country club down Colonial Hill, that didn't work.
It was said
I will
earlier-
I will say, when they put the sewers in, and they put the big trunk line down the center of the street, it did help some, but it's still.
There's a lot of water comes off that
Poor
golf
lady that
course.
lives at the top of Bowen Street on the right,
Yeah,
she gets it the worst. I mean, she gets 3-4 feet of water in her basement
In her basement?
from the country club.
Comes in one side in her bulkhead, out the
Out
other
the other
side.
side. On the-
Oh, my God.
but you can't go to Maroney's and tell them they gotta put an interceptor drain all the way down the side of their property.
Can't tell them anything, they connected to the gas company through Bowen Street. But they own the
That's
property,
awful.
they own that triangle at the end, there's nothing we can do,
No,
but that's a
When
subject
people-
for another
When
day.
people build houses into the groundwater table, when it should have been slab construction out of the gate.
Yep.
It creates long-standing problems that superficial solutions don't fix, because the groundwater is still the groundwater,
that's correct.
you know? So, that, in part, that's going on in this neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of these houses, it's clear to me, are built into the groundwater table. The groundwater table, never mind rain events and
Yeah.
stream channels and everything.
I would think the water table there is like around 30 inches, 32 inches, something like that.
Mhm.
I don't know, I'd never dug a test pit, so I don't know, but
Yeah.
just by looking at the
Yeah.
different trees in that,
I think you're right.
it's not too far down.
Right, so if you have an 8-foot cut,
There you go.
You're building a bathtub that's holding
Yep.
water back.
And even if you get an interceptor drain, all you do is move it to the next guy. So, don't buy the house at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, no.
You know,
But
and
we're
there's,
at the top of the hill.
and there's plenty of activities that take place in the watershed that aren't in buffer zones to wetlands
Right,
that require, people can do whatever they want. They don't, there's no permits required. Planning
That's
board, building inspector, Concom approval, they can just divert water, berm this, move this, da-da-da-da.
I got that on Franklin
And
Street,
it
that's
happens.
why I
And
had
then
the
it cul-
problem
And then
there.
it culminates at wetlands, but by the time you reach there, you're almost too late. Needs to be dealt with
Yeah,
higher into the watershed.
alright, let me get this and,
So I would suggest if you want then I suggest maybe you have Toby reach back out to Judy at DEP and
Yep.
say, could you please give us 30 days to get back to you? We had a nice meeting, we had a good discussion, but we're asking for 30
no,
days.
I think as long as we're talking, we're good, we're good.
Because otherwise they're liable to just take an action, not hearing anything from you.
And that's only gonna end in another counteraction, which I don't wanna go into, because I don't
Sounds
think it
good.
benefits anyone.
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you. They asked, when is the next meeting?
First Monday, what's the date on it?
Should be December 5th.
December fifth? But we'll know something before that. Did you leave your contact information?
I left my name.
Give me your
Yeah, my
contact
address.
information, I can send it to you, whatever, I'll keep you up to date on what we're doing.
Appreciate it.
And if there's any feedback, you have my way to reach.
Oh, yeah, no,
All right, thank you guys.
Alright, thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
Okay, so we did that.
How come we gotta clean up everybody else?
Say again?
How come we gotta clean up?
Because I'm a nice guy, you should just say, not my problem.
But it is a bigger problem, and there is a bigger issue, and it,
Oh,
and
there absolutely
I
is.
agree, it needs to get
Yeah,
addressed if it's ever
unfortunately.
gonna solve it, or it's just gonna
Certificate
continue to get
compliance,
worse.
what are we doing with Shrine Ave? I don't know, no one made any request to me,
Oh, that was the one we were talking about.
with the lawyer, and he hasn't come back yet?
And, he, has
Alright.
not told me what to do yet.
So I'm gonna let that
so-
go to next month, or when he talks to me. Order of conditions, we can do the order of conditions for the Quinnapoxet, because I have the 401. So we're gonna send them an order of conditions, which I'll show the board before we send it out. Minutes, anybody read the minutes?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's good.
Okay.
The
I
other
read
one I
enough of them, so I know.
Have is, somewhere I have it.
Complaint to Bank
I
of
wanna
America.
issue a complaint to the Bank of America.
What'd the bank do?
Yeah, let's see. The bank charges me too much money. Well,
Huh?
Before you do that, can I just ask a
Yes.
question? Okay, about the dam?
Yes,
Okay, I know you got the letter, everything's copacetic. Is there a date of when they anticipate on doing this?
not that I have.
Will that
I
be
thought
something
from the
that-
meeting
will
it
that-
was gonna be late summer. So it'll be
Yes.
next year?
Yeah, it's probably gonna
Oh,
go to
that-
next
that's
year
right.
now, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in their
thought that was gonna be-
presentation, I think I asked that, and I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure it was
Okay, but I
summer,
thought-
so it wouldn't be this year, it'd be
They were gonna do some
23.
preliminary work, but they got held up because I couldn't issue the conditions.
Okay, because I thought that, you said it's only take, it should only take about 3 or 4 days.
Oh, yeah, it's a
They
quick
should-
thing for what they're doing.
Okay, so will, whoever's gonna do this, will they inform the board of when?
Oh, yeah,
they do this?
absolutely, yeah,
Okay, you let, okay.
because they got all the prep work, all the wattles and everything for all their equipment, all that stuff has to be inspected prior
I'll
to
bring a
start.
box of tissues, so.
Okay.
Could you tell me, is there, I tried researching the dam,
Yeah,
is there a place I can find documents about it,
I think who would have that?
plans?
DCR.
Yeah,
Okay.
DCR would have it for sure.
I would think DCR, they're the ones
So
that
there,
own it, so to speak.
WPI,
What about the?
they've done
what about that
a
group that did that
presentation on
presentation?
the reservoir.
That
no,
was,
I'm talking about
the dam.
that was Mass DEP that did that.
Right, they should have all that documentation.
Let me look at my files, I'll get you an address for them.
Okay.
But it's Mass DEP, but it's a specific division.
Thank you.
All right, so what did Bank of America do?
Okay. Bank America on Prospect Street, they had all the old containers from Tashan, all that medical waste from the,
What did the bank have it for?
they had a foreclosure. When they did the foreclosure, they separated the property, they sold just the house and an acre of land. and then they left all the trash on the other acre of
Oh, the
land.
bank owns that property,
Yeah,
even
I
though the
did not
bank's
know
not anywhere
that.
near there? Oh, oh, I get it, okay.
So,
Okay, I'm thinking of the bank of
so the
the
building
building.
inspector wants them to do, clean it up,
Yeah,
and they won't even return his phone call.
ah,
So I said, I can give him a fine of $25,000 a day, and I'll bet you they'll call.
that'll get their attention,
So,
Well, you'd be surprised.
yeah, I know.
hopefully.
No, well, no, he's got experience with banks, he knows.
Oh, yeah.
They're not nice people,
Yeah.
any of them.
I've been,
So anyway, I need a signature page, let me
keep
find
that
it.
off the record too. I work for them and I,
Are these still on?
So what's 256 Worcester Street?
256
What's
West.
the next thing on the thing?
That is,
What are we
Okay.
signing here?
So what are we
What am I
doing?
signing on this?
that is a signature sheet because I need permission that the board agrees to send this to the Bank of America.
Okay.
I mean, I do it on my own, but they'll laugh at me, but don't laugh at you guys. The 256 is property owned by Miola, it's a four-family. And he was taking down some trees and he got into a contest with another condo next door. I forget their name. So basically, I told him to stop, cease and desist cutting down the trees. And they want a buffer zone, they wanna have a conversation if he does whatever he's gonna do. And to clean up the mess that he's currently got and to stabilize the land. So I got everybody to agree to that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give that to George, have George put it on his letterhead, cause I don't wanna be involved.
Who's George?
Cause
Who's
they shouldn't
George?
have had to be involved, George is a building inspector, he's our code enforcement officer.
You know, it's kind of funny
Thank
that you
you.
just brought that up, because, yesterday, the house that's next to the condos where I live,
Yep,
okay, not the new condos, but but the house, that just sold a few months back, and the guy's been cleaning it up. He came over and asked us where the property line was, because he's
I
cutting
have the
trees,
rest of that.
because he's cutting trees down in his backyard. I said to him, I told the guy, I said, the condo association, I told him, you should have just told me all these on our property too. So, I mean, it's just comical that you just brought that up about that.
yeah, but I mean, I shouldn't have to get involved in this stuff, it's got absolutely nothing to do with me. But, whatever, George is a good guy, so they don't
That's
know.
because everybody knows that you take it, some sort of action. That's the main, I mean, I'm not,
That's a good
you know,
thing,
I'm not
though.
putting you down or anything. But
That's a
I'm
good
just saying, people know that if they come to Bill Chase, he'll listen and he'll try to find some kind of resolution for it. And I mean that sincerely, you know, that's why I'm glad that you were able to kind of do something with Mr. Goddard and give, you know, and get him.
He's very, as long as they talk, it's when they go
Yeah.
spitting the armor, and I can't go anywhere with that.
No, but in my opinion, but in my, yeah. But in my
Oh, my
opinion, you're doing the right thing, because you know that there's gonna be a bigger problem if this is built.
Yeah.
And you just want the town to be aware and let all the minds get together and decide. So that
Maybe
they know,
avoid
so
it
this isn't
instead of
a
wait.
surprise a year from now, all of a sudden, oh, the house got built, now we have all these water problems.
How
Oh,
did
this
that
is all
happen?
Before the commission.
Like I said, conversation costs nothing. You know, there's no sense getting a bunch of lawyers in
If
there.
you can get the town to fix the drainage up there, you'd have a lot of happy neighbors.
Well, that's a good thing, cause I drive by there every day.
We deal with it every spring. Thank you for your help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, leave me in contact so I can
Yeah.
contact you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Okay,
help.
so we did that. Well, don't thank us until we do something.
Listening
I
is
just
great.
wish we had known about it sooner,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah,
wish,
so we just do the abutters, that's all.
I wish we had known that Pat Prince was gonna sell that property, we would've bought
We
it.
would have bought it.
I think he
I
only
bet he
paid like
sold it
$3,000 or
for a
$4,000.
$3,000-something
Yeah.
for it, yeah.
No money.
It's crazy.
So we definitely would have bought it.
I would've bought it.
Okay, so I told you on that one.
I like the idea of a one big retention pond.
Financial report is we have money.
They'll
Yes.
ask for it.
Facilities and
Thank
paperwork,
you.
I've already read
Thank
it.
you, have a good night.
Next
Good night.
scheduled- Next scheduled meeting is December 5th, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn so I don't get in trouble.
What trouble you getting?
Second.
Pass me out.
Oh, you should've told me, I would've closed this thing an hour ago.
No. Important discussions cannot be cut short.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, I thought the meeting was good, I thought.
7:10.
Yeah, I just,
No, that's the way you should be. I have no problem.